much for this beautiful presentation. Now it is the time for question answer session. सवाल जवाब का वक्फा होगा। तो मेरी गुजारिश रहेगी तमाम पार्टिसिपेंट्स से कि वो अपने सवालात जो है वो दोनों टीमों के मेंबरान से, जो हमारे पैनलिस्ट हैं, उनसे पूछें। तो ये वक्फा जो है ये 20 मिनट तक रहेगा।
May I ask a question, please?
Please go ahead, please.
My question is to Dr. Harish, Saab, the team from Jammu.
Yes.
Dr. Harish has pointed out that if every citizen of the nation is entrusted with teaching at least one child, one student, that would help in changing the landscape of the country. Sir, I think this is not only a big challenge, but this is ever impossible for the country to entrust every citizen this very hectic assignment to teach a student so that we are able to change the landscape of our country. So far we have been trying a lot to universalize the education, particularly elementary education. So this thing, I think this is असंभव है, ये लगता है कि जो पॉसिबल नहीं है नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी द्वारा. So what is your stand on this?
Hello.
Harish sir, please respond.
Hello. Yes, sir. I'm getting you. Sir, actually, the motive of this plan is to motivate the community, to involve the community, so that every volunteer of the community should spare his time for this process, so that students can learn, because there are so many literate persons in our locality. In every locality, there are many literate persons, but they are not rendering Vidyadan. They are not rendering Vidyadan. By means of Vidyadan, we can achieve to some extent. Some people may not render their services to the children, but there are some people in every community who are always ready for Vidyadan. So we should motivate those people who are ready for Vidyadan and take their services for Vidyadan. Because no doubt on Diksha portal, thousands of people are contributing in Vidyadan. So at the same time, our literate persons, people who are well educated, they are sitting somewhere in the locality, they can contribute for our society, and we should take services of such type of people. It may not be necessary 100% literate people will contribute for this service. Some people will contribute, no doubt, because testimonials are there in Diksha portal. I have seen thousands of people contributing their lectures on Vidyadan portal free of cost, and the same time they can also contribute for our children. Hello.
Thanks sir. अच्छी बात होती है if such an initiative is taken by at least a citizen of this country.
For this we have to motivate our community members. For this we have to organize many meetings in our area. Whenever we shall organize meetings, we will motivate our people who are well educated for Vidyadan. They will definitely contribute, no doubt, because I have seen, because being a content reviewer on Vidyadan, I have seen thousands of people from Jammu and Kashmir, they are contributing for Vidyadan, their videos, their lesson plans, their textual content, their even books have been donated by many people. Although hundreds of them, they are not from education department. Still they are contributing. But anyhow, they are well educated and they are contributing for education of Jammu and Kashmir. Sir, next.
Thank you, sir. Tariq Manzoor Khan.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Assalamu alaikum. Sir, my question is to Dr. Hari Sharma, sir. Sir, you talked about the challenge in reaching and tracking and monitoring the progress of children who live in remote areas or far-flung areas. Sir, you have also provided some suggestions like use of technology and modern technology. But sir, how will we use technology as maximum number of far-flung areas are without any technological devices or power supply is missing, like internet is accessible. So how is it possible to reach children in such conditions? So that's my question.
Sir, your question is a very good question. I welcome your question, but to some extent we can track teachers. We can monitor our teachers by technology. Suppose some teacher is teaching there on the top peaks of Poonch, Rajouri, or in Rayasi, or in Bhadrawa, or in Shopian. or in somewhere else. If someone is teaching there, whenever he will come back to his home, or once in a week, he can upload on Google Form what he has done inside his classroom, what he has achieved, what milestone he has hit till date. Whenever he will submit his Google Form on that Google Form, monitoring our online sessions may be conducted with some selected students by calling them in network coverage area. In network coverage area, to some extent we can do this, not 100% we can monitor with the help of technology, particularly in those areas where there is no network, but anyhow, in remote areas where there is network, we can do this by 100% success. There are some remote areas, but they are remote by distance, but they are not remote by technology. They are not remote by mobile network. So where there is access of mobile network, we can do this. We can do this. In case there is no mobile network, at that time we may be helpless, but where there is network, we can do this. We can just create Google Forms to monitor all those things. And whenever we shall create such type of Google Forms, we will monitor in Kashmir. When the Simple Education Foundational program was launched, our Pravas was launched. At that time, District Resource Group of Srinagar has created Google Form. They monitored the entire Kashmir division. So why not we can do this for National Education Policy 2020?
Thank you, sir.
I still remember Sadashiv sir was there in Kashmir. He was supporting the District Resource Group of Srinagar, and at that time they created Srinagar district was the first district who monitored the Kashmir division with Google Form. So same process can be done in the entire Jammu and Kashmir UT, particularly in those areas where there is no network problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Gilani sir from Diet Sport. Please unmute yourself.
Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum to everybody. This was an excellent presentation by both the teams from Kashmir and Jammu, Dr. Harish Sharma from Diet Coach and Mr. J.H. Rashid from SCRT Kashmir. So my question to Dr. Harish Sharma ji, I was listening to his presentation. During presentation, focus was made on digital literacy or enhancement of skills at grassroots level. Is it possible to apply in our government school in present scenario? Number two, support from unemployment youth on voluntary mode. We think government has already sent response schemes exercising this pattern of voluntary mode. I think that was a futile exercise. I don't think any on voluntary mode such things can be possible in future to raise the academic excellence. Hariji, Dr. Hariji.
Sir, hello, sir. Sir, your question is also very good question. How we can just take support of volunteers and how we can take support of educated unemployed from our locality, at least by just engaging them on contractual basis, paying some scholarship, paying some money, just financial benefit, we can achieve this target. Because we may take the examples of Pravas, we may take the examples of Pratham. Here are some youth, they are working for Pravas and Pratham, they are working on voluntary basis and they are doing wonderful job. Same we can do. SCRT Kashmir and SCRT Jammu can engage our student, our unemployed youth on the pattern Pravas has engaged educated unemployed youth. In that way, their experience should be recorded, and at that time recruitment preference should be given to those unemployed youth who are just who volunteered their services for this cause.
Yes, sir.
And we can achieve
that's right, sir. If there will be some provision for employment of these unemployed youth in a certain locality where we can engage these, then it's possible. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, by just providing some financial benefit. Financial benefit
are very important.
Otherwise, it is very difficult for the unemployed youth to render their services free of cost to the students in their community. Because question of just dal and roti is there.
Yes, sir. Then it's possible. Yes, sir. Sir, one more question to Mr. Rishi Saab. Is there any provision in NEP 2020 that NAS parameters could be applied in every school? No doubt. A module book stands already established at every school is working on that and to come over the learning gaps. But to continuous assessment on the pattern of NAS is the need of the hour in every government school to raise the level of all skills, including comprehension. Why to wait for NCERT for such assessments? There should be a provision in every government school and in NEP 2020 to conduct such type of tests so that we can come to the level of achievement.
Gilani sir, I will respond it like that our teachers are not well acquainted with the technicalities of the assessment yet. That is why I proposed that CRT should prepare a thorough module for the conducting of the assessment, school-based assessment. We are only considering the assessment as the assessment of the learning outcomes, but our assessment should be all-round assessment. Assessment in 360 degrees. I means that he's emotional, he's social, he's ethical, all things. His personality, nutritional. Is there any cause or health problem? Our assessment should be all-round in that sense. That's what I want to say is that Ms. Urfana ji wants to add something.
Gilani sir, good morning.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, this holistic assessment, 360-degree assessment has been already given in the module for early literacy that has been published on the website of JK, Kashmir region, DSEK Kashmir region. There we have this 5-point scale or Likert scale on which the teachers were trained how to assess the child and with the continuous comprehensive evaluation, and that too with the observation tools. Though it has been implemented only in few of the schools where the KG sections are there, and especially in Ganerbal district and few of the Nandhe Kadam schools. But that very assessment scale is to be given wider publication and has to be trained. Teachers have to be trained and implemented in the field. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. That's my question. That during NAS we only select a certain group of schools, but I think the exercise should be in every school. Every school should be covered under this scheme so that we can come to the expectations of the present scenario of the education system.
Sir, sir, so far the surveys are concerned, we take a sample size. It is not possible in the surveys to take each and every school. But what we have suggested that SCRT should prepare a module and to train the teachers how to conduct the all-round assessment. Assessment for learning, assessment of learning, assessment as learning, and assessment of the NEP clearly says that our assessment should not focus only on the learning outcomes. It should focus on all aspects of a child, his social, ethical, his other psychomotor, and all the domains of a child should be considered while assessing.
That was my question, sir. That every school should be authorized to conduct such types at their own level. We have given the suggestion that we must train and we must professionally train and we must professionally develop our teachers for the same. We have already suggested in that. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
NCRT is preparing NCF and other things for that will come within a year. But settle the SCRT, we have proposed to the government that SCRT will start the work on these lines.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And the work has already been initiated in that regard.
Hello. Rihana ma'am, please unmute yourself. Rihana ji, Rihana sir. Muzaffar Hussain Saab from Diet Pulwama. It's Muzaffar Saab.
Okay, sir. Assalamu alaikum. This is Rehana Kausar from Diet Srinagar. So my question is multigrade teaching. So like everything is written in platinum and gold. Implementation is the major part and major challenge that you have to face in the coming year. So for my concern is number one, when we talk about volunteers to come up to our schools in far off reaches where the people-teacher ratio is very low. So therein the teachers face a lot of problems. So what about the multigrade teaching at that time? Foundation ko banana, it's very difficult. So if we take help from the educated youth, My concern is there is a lot of advocacy to be done, banners, poster making, so that they get to know that if we are working for a voluntary thing, it's something touching their soul and they're doing it out of not sympathy, empathy. It's like from the core of their heart, they're going to work for education institutions because they are the one who have come out of these education institutions only. That mission thing is missing somewhere. For that mission thing, we need to have a strong people get that those who not there because they're
Ma'am, I have a submission. We have already highlighted these issues that we have available. There are a lot of material on multi-grade teaching, but we lack is the foundation literacy and numeracy. That's a major concern. If since the foundational literacy and numeracy begins right from the birth of a child, we need to take into cognizance all those things. We have the availability of the material on the multi-grade teaching, but if we want that our country should become superpower in terms of the human resource, we need to focus on this thing. We have already raised these issues.
Rishi sir, we have n number of beautiful things coming our way. Goodie bag is full of. Our goodie bag is full now. The only thing is how do we like अभी मेहमान आता है तो अगर डिश हम प्रेजेंट करेंगे तो किस तरीके से प्रेजेंट करेंगे? हमारा कंसर्न अब नीड एनालिसिस पर वो होना चाहिए. How do we present these things? Like the webinars going on, it's a very good thing, a thumb up thing going on. इसी तरह जो भी हमारा अभी फाउंडेशन के बारे में जितना है, ACC के बारे में जितना है, जितना इन stages के बारे में, it has to come up to the public. It has to get a very much advocacy everywhere. So people come and they want to join our mission. That's my submission. Thank you, Rishi sir. Thank you so much.
May I add something to it? Assalamualaikum.
Hello.
May I add something?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Multigrade is problem, but when you keep NEP aside, I mean to say, if the provisions for this level are fulfilled, I definitely can say there will be no multigrade problem. But that is the challenge we are projecting right now, that if we talk about multigrade, if we talk about this foundational literacy, there are the prerequisites that need to be there. Once those, for example, people teacher ratio, classroom people ratio, specialized helpers, etc. Once we have all these provisions there, definitely there will be no multigrade teaching problem there. Thank you.
Deepak Sharma Saab from SCRT.
Good afternoon to all. In fact, this is still good morning. So Rishi sir, I just want to take a question regarding NAS. We had a question on NAS, over readiness on NAS, and whether we should have expertise in, conducting state level services. So my point is, see, earlier NAS was held in 2017. Now we are going to have this in 21 itself. So it was about to happen in 20 only, but because of this pandemic, it has been delayed. So this will be conducted by NCERT under the aegis of MHRD in 21. So as far as readiness is concerned, see, earlier surveys before 2017, they were based on content. And after that, our survey has been based on not on content, but on learning outcomes. Now the point is whether our children are that much, sufficient, that much knowledge and learning format, that lies on the responsibility and onus lies on teachers only. See, there is not much difference between content and learning outcomes. In fact, learning outcomes is a buzzword throughout the country and throughout the UTs and states. But one thing we have to keep in mind, if our focus is on content, learning outcomes are going to be achieved, that has to be there. No, what we have to do is we have to teach differently. We are not going to teach different things, but we have to teach differently. So we have to deliver the things differently, and for that we have to go for basic teaching. We have to focus on content, and the teachers have to keep in their mind what are the learning outcomes for one particular class. See, our results were not that much satisfying at national level. When we talk of Jammu and Kashmir, we were, comparable with national average, but not at par with national average. But as far as class 3, 5, and 8 is concerned, we can improve the results, and we have ample time still. This will be in 21, and before that, we can practice those tests. We have got sample tests. Still, we have those sample papers with SCRT Jammu as well as with SCRT Kashmir division, and the diets might also be having those. So we can go and practice those tests, and I think we can improve the results. Our focus has to be on content, and we have to see whether our learning outcomes are being covered or not. So I don't think there will be much problem. If we focus right from now, we focus right on the learning outcomes coupled with content, we'll be able to achieve the desired. Thank you.
Sir, actually, their foundational literacy and numeracy has been incorporated in the policy, keeping in the view that there are learning gaps which are being potentiated over a period of time in the early years, early stage. Actually, what happens is that when we talk about the class 3rd, the NAS was in fact on the basis of learning outcomes.
Right.
But why there were the severe these learning crisis? It has been found that it is actually the learning gaps which has potentiated over from right from the birth in a child up to the class 3rd. Number 2nd is that we talk about the learning outcomes, that our assessment should be based on the learning outcomes. But still, we have not refined our examination system. Our examination system is not based on the learning outcomes. So the reforms in the examination system is very much need of the hour. And so far as the assessment in all respects, assessment should be holistic so that we can develop properly our human resource. Thank you, sir.
But Rishi sir, I think now we are going to bridge that gap. The point is, earlier, we didn't.
Definitely, sir. We have proposed in our presentation clearly, and we have suggested that our and NEP itself says that there must be the reforms in the examination system. Since the topic is on the foundational literacy and numeracy, we should focus on that, and we have pointed that what are our challenges and what suggestions we are putting to the authorities for bridging those gaps in that stage.
But Rishi sir, we just can't discuss things in isolation. When we talk of foundation literacy and numeracy, this is very much linked with ECCE. Earlier we didn't focus on ECC. Now we are focusing on ECC as and when our children are school ready before coming to school. When our focus will be very much right on ECC, I think that gap where our school were having slackness, we didn't get our child school ready. There was no provision of playway schools. I mean, there was little provision of. So when these things are bridged, that gap will be bridged, and let's hope we'll be having positive results. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Sir, my concern is that when the National Education Policy 2020 is speaking all about, but when we are saying that education is a triangular process, so we are missing one very important thing, that is the parents. We are talking about the community mobilization and all that. And in fact, just in the previous question, ma'am was saying that advocacy is required. But when we leave the parents, I don't think that if the parents are not actively involved, then we can achieve the target. Because in 2017, I have undertaken a research project, action research, and in which the majority of the concern of the teachers was that the parents, in particularly in rural areas, are very indifferent towards their the studies of their child. So this need to be taken care of.
Sir, we have given in the suggestions that there must be incentives and regular programs, both on in terms of the electronic media and personal to personal contacts. We have to persuade the parents, we have to educate the parents to bring the children, because it seems to be very impossible if the parents are not taken on the board that the retention is the problem in the early grades. A 3 years old kid has to be come to the school. So this is a great challenge, and we have suggested that the socio-economically disadvantaged groups, there must be the counseling, there must be some incentives, right from this. If we take the example of Asha workers, we are giving the incentives for the pregnant these ladies that they should take care of their health. So why not to give them the incentives on this account to and motivate them to send their children to schools at the early grades, so that there may be no learning gaps which are being potentiated over a period of time, and which are reflected in the national level surveys being conducted at later stage. So actually the cause, what the surveys have depicted, that what is the basic cause why we are not attaining the desired learning goals. Since our NEP says that our focus should be from the content mastery to content mastery to competency mastery. It is only possible when we first of all educate the parents regarding the importance of this early foundational literacy and numeracy.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir.
Hello, Rishi sir. May I talk, sir?
Yes.
Sir, Muzaffar sir, good morning. Sir, there is provision for parents. According to National Education Policy, libraries should be set up inside the school where parents will frequently visit. They will visit for the inquiry of their children, as well as they will stay there for reading newspaper, reading religious books, religious story books. Because school libraries will now become public library, and there is a provision for the visit of parents, so that parents may visit inside the school, and in that library some recreational facilities may be provided like TV, so that parents can remain in touch with their teachers, particularly teachers of their children. So there is provision in this way to create strong relationship between parents and teachers in new education policy.
I request you to be brief with your questions, please. We are out of time.
Hello.
In this regard, we have already kept a provision of separation anxiety, in which we are involving parents in our foundational literacy and numeracy. They will be in the school for a stipulated period of time, then so that this gap will be.
Ma'am, you are not audible. Ma'am, you are not audible.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. हम माजरत खा हैं कि हमारा वक्त जो है वो निकल रहा है, तो हमारा एक दूसरा सेशन इस वक्त हो रहा है पैनल डिस्कशन का। तो हम माजरत खा हैं, बहुत से लोग जिनको सवाल पूछना था, हम उनके सवाल इस वक्त नहीं ले रहे हैं, क्योंकि हमारे पैनलिस्ट जो हैं वो काफी देर से यहाँ मौजूद है। मैं उनको बुलाना चाहूंगा एक शेर के साथ। नदियों से इस नदी की कहानी नहीं मिलती, पानी यहाँ मिलता है रवानी नहीं मिलती, बचपन के बाद सीधे बुढ़ापे में कदम है, इस दौर के बच्चों को जवानी नहीं मिलती। मेरी गुजारिश रहेगी प्रोफेसर JN बालिया, सेंट्रल यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ जम्मू, जो हमारे पैनल आज की पैनल में शामिल है, और डॉक्टर इशफाक अहमद साहब, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर सेंटर ऑफ डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन, यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ कश्मीर से इनका ताल्लुक है। अब यहाँ पैनल डिस्कशन होगा, और जो प्रोफेसर उषा शर्मा जी हैं, पहले ही हमने बताया है कि वो इस सेशन की चेयरपर्सन है। ओवर टू पैनलिस्ट्स।
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
First of all, at this outset, let me congratulate SCERT for organizing this very nicely crafted webinar on National Education Policy 2020, Challenges, Opportunities vis-a-vis J&K. And the whole J&K UT government, under the patronship of Lieutenant Honorable Lieutenant Governor Sinha Saab and Advisor Saab, because day before yesterday, I was listening to the whole session as a guest. I was listening, and I always feel that this policy needs to be looked in a very holistic perspective. Though SCRT has done a good job because they are having lecture series on school education for, I believe, for all 8 broad domains of the policy. And one by one, they have taken up on 3rd. So let me congratulate Madam Veena Pandita for that, the whole SCRT team. And I also feel gratitude to Madam Usha ji from NCRT. Namaskar, namaskar. And I think Madam would agree with me that the kind of discussion going on for last almost 2 hours, I think J&K seems to be well prepared to take up the task of this thing, because the kind of clarity I was thinking in the resource persons like Mr. Harish Saab and Mr. Rishi from Jammu and Kashmir, they are very clear about the things. One thing very important to understand about this foundational literacy and numeracy, that though Dr. Harish did talk in detail about these things, that foundational literacy and numeracy, these are the 2 components which need to be taken up in a very integrated manner. That is the first point we have to understand. And since this time we are working as per this policy on 5+3+3+4 structure. So these first 5 years are very, very important for every child, every citizen of the country, with the target, because this is the foundational stage as per the structure. And from 3 to 8 years, as it has been said, for 3 to 6 years, they have to fall under the Anganwadis or Balvatikas, any kind of preschool setting, and 6 to 8 years, the class 1 and 2. One thing we need to understand, that adoption of this policy in a true spirit and going for this foundational literacy and numeracy, we need to develop a very good roadmap, as all the participants were discussing, the resource teams were discussing. We have to go for a proper recruitment policy and necessary curriculum change in the institutional character, and of course the role of stakeholders. When we say stakeholders, I believe at this point of time, as it was being discussed in the last question, the parents, the role of parents is very important in that. Now, I will go one by one in that way. In brief, otherwise also Mr. Harish and Mr. Deshi have already talked about. The first point which we need to understand, that when we say literacy and numeracy, literacy, we talk about reading with comprehension. That kind of ability is very important. And as some of the survey reports were being shared, that in J&K, I think Mr. Rishi was talking about, the survey reports were really very, very challenging. That we need to work for this age group, where the people even entering to the second stage, or maybe class 4th and 5th, and many of the remote areas of this UT, from very remote areas of this area region, people don't have, the children don't have that kind of that understanding of basic numeracy and literacy. So I think we need to do too much of work. One thing very important is that this, specifically this foundation literacy and numeracy, because this deals with the first 5 years of the foundational stage mainly. And therefore, I think the role of SCRT would be more vital than any other agency. Here, when I say role of SCRT, that means instead of looking at any broad guidelines from the national level, though we have to follow, Madam Usha sitting here for NCRT, we have to do a very comprehensive collaborative work, but this foundational program is basically more of localized because it's already said in the policy that we have to go for this stage in the regional languages, in the local languages, and for adoption of all different things like literacy and numeracy, we have to go for the involvement of local things. And in that context, the Jammu division, the Jammu region and the Kashmir region, what's our different local languages, local culture, local people, their involvement would be more important rather than looking at very, very broad and general guidelines. So we have to go for developing the local setup. Locally, we have to work more than at national level. That would be very important. And here I would suggest, I would rather volunteer in that contest, being the head of the department from Educational Studies, Central University of Jammu. And I think this is our obligatory duty to contribute our services to SCRT, any kind of thing in terms of the curriculum development, in terms of curriculum mapping, in terms of any support they want. The services of the faculty, the students, and any kind of thing would always be available to SCRT Jammu and Kashmir. Because ours is Educational Studies Department and we are working on those things. This is one point I think I must emphasize upon. And Mr. Harish has already talked about that this foundation literacy and numeracy, the target has been given by 2025. And it is said that we have to develop so that when the children go to class 3rd, for class 3rd, before they go class 3rd, these 5 years of the foundational stage with adequate understanding about literacy and the foundation literacy, 3 aspects mainly 3 aspects. There are so many other domains also. Madam Usha will talk about in detail those things. One is, I always shared with you, that is the reading with comprehension. This ability is very, very important, reading with comprehension, and speaking ability. And when we say speaking ability with coherent thoughts, that is very, very important. Reading is not only the reading from the text and just kind of repeating before the teachers as we do in the classes. It's not reading only that, reading from the textbook or reading any content, but when we say reading with comprehension, it should lead to the speaking abilities among the students. So that's very, very important. And speaking abilities means speaking with coherent thoughts. That is the second domain which is connected with literacy part. And then we say the writing. Writing, when we say writing with understanding, it's not only with understand the handwriting only, but writing means the creative writing, that the children should, at least up to the class 2nd, some kind of writing abilities where they understand what are they writing, because when they enter to class 3rd, this kind of foundational literacy may not be too much of emphasis on writing, I do understand, but at least the reading should lead to the speaking, and speaking, reading, both the things should lead to the writing abilities, and that would be the basic concepts of foundational literacy. And when we say about the numeracy, numeracy again talk about basically four different kind of domains in terms of concept of understanding the numbers, the space, the size, and its application part, that kind of thing. And as Mr. Harish was sharing with us, that with some pictures and some examples, that not only the counting ability, child should know what is 1, what is 2, but other aspects of application of basic numerals should also be developed. That's a very, very important. And let me share with you, friends, that now you might be knowing that though I should not, I don't believe in just comparing our country with other countries, because every country has its own local constraints and advantages. But I think we all know that Japan at present is heading in the whole world in terms of foundation literacy and numeracy. And also we do cite the examples of Finland and other countries. And but if you look at the whole curricular structure of Japan, they are doing too much on foundation literacy and numeracy. And that is why in the world they have taken lead. And we generally see that Japanese are good at least numeracy. They are not so fine maybe in foundation literacy, but yes, they have taken lead in the world. And this has, because this foundational literacy has its own implications at secondary and other stages. That is the point. It's not only for developing reading with comprehension, other things. It is a preparatory stage. So you are just preparing them for other stages of education structure, educational ladder, and that is why it's very, very important. In the policy, it has been very clearly specified. If you see under 2.3 about the recruitment, that's very, very important point I would like to emphasize upon. Mr. Harish and other things were talking about that there is a provision of national mission on foundational literacy and numeracy. And I think at the state level also these groups would be made, these task groups would be made. But one thing I would talk about here, that as far as the recruitment is concerned, we have to understand the teachers which we need at this stage have to be very, very specifically selected and recruited. I think we understand that an orthopedician cannot be an eye specialist. An eye specialist cannot be a dentist. So in that case, we need some specialized teachers. We need to have some specialized teacher education program. Otherwise, a general program for all kinds of teachers, though we have the provisions. If you look at the NCT and other things, we do have the provisions. But I would suggest at this UT level that SCRT needs to do extraordinary work for preparing or just crafting a teacher education program for specifically for this group, for foundational group, and mainly for foundational literacy. I should not draw this statement, but every Tom and Harry cannot go for this kind of stage where the teachers, every teacher, I think, cannot teach the students at the foundation. The person who will be teaching should have sufficient knowledge and understanding about the child development stages, the language development stages, and all different aspects that what is to be, and therefore here the role of DIETS, role of SCRT, role of DIETS, we have to go for a very comprehensive and continuous professional development program. because this is the first stage. This is the first stage, and anything done in the wrong way would directly affect all stages. That's what we had been observing at UT level or at national level. This is one point. As far as the school preparation module is concerned, Mr. Harish was talking about, this is reflected in point 2, point 5 in the policy about the school preparation module at class grade 1, where it has to be a collaborative approach. Here I would cite you, friends, the example of Kendriya Vidyalayas, because I have been associated with Kendriya Vidyalaya. I have seen at the class first stage, they don't directly start with the classroom. They go for at least 1.5 to 2 months complete induction program of the children with no formal classwork. The admission takes place in the month of April or May, and for 1.5 to 2 months, no syllabus, nothing is discussed with the students, only the preparatory program, and they have got a very good modules for preparatory modules for and teachers and not teachers. This is done in the along with the cooperation of parents. Parents are directly involved. Not directly. Hello. Parents are directly involved. The teachers are involved. The peers are involved. That's what approach in the policy has been specified upon for the school preparation module. Because when the child from those 3 years enters to the grade 1, this is the basic entry to the school system. He should be prepared in different life skills, in different settings, and there we should have proper induction. And even at the first class, or first class in the sense that when he start the lowest class at the age of 3 years. So this school preparation program module, here SCRT, Jammu and Kashmir have to work together, and too much of work is needed for preparing this module. And as far as involvement of community is concerned, because this was being discussed at length, involvement of community and involvement of volunteers, and I think one suggestion was there, Mr. Harish also seconded that kind of financial incentives should be given. But I think another suggestion which was given.
Sorry, sir, to interrupt you in between. Please be brief.
Yeah, I'm just concluding. Concluding. In terms of giving financial assistance, we should also give, as it was being discussed, the professional incentives. That means some kind of, if a volunteer devotes or dedicates maybe 3 months or 4 months with a proper recording of those things. For that purpose, we have to go for a complete voluntary mapping. We can do a comprehensive mapping of the volunteers, and I don't think the people are not available. People are available in the villages. And somebody said that it's a 5 crore students or children are there, and we have big population. I think and not only 1 to 1, maybe 1 to 2, 1 to 3, but at least volunteers need to be mapped, and accordingly we can give some professional incentives in the sense that we can record the events, we can give them the incentive in terms of marks, so that when they apply for any job, not only for teaching job, for any job, their services, suppose once go for the banking services, we should give that, because it has to be on the missionary mode. It has to be missionary. That the person who devotes or dedicates his services for this kind of thing, voluntary services, his contribution should be recorded, and it should be rewarded whenever he goes for any job. Maybe in terms of some fractional marks or that kind of thing. That should be that kind of thing. And also one thing, I'll be winding up within a minute, that a very, very important thing is that infrastructure there. The last minute it was being discussed about the books and the creation of public library. The school libraries need to be converted to public libraries, and therefore its policy, it is said that there has to be a national book promotion policy will come up, where the availability, the accessibility, the quality, the readership, all these things would be taken care of. Involvement of parents. I have seen in many states and many places where the local libraries at the rural level, village level, have been very successful experiments. I have seen the evening parents are sitting, the children are sitting in those libraries discussing, and there again the role of volunteers, whoever have volunteers. We can have a part-time librarian from the village itself who can take care of the library resources. Any girl from that village, any boy from that village can take care of that library resources, and let that library be open till 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, and that school becomes a community center. A school becomes a learning center, and that would be a very, very important aspect. And the last point in this policy for this chapter 2 has been talked about the midday meals, where we have talked about providing, already Mr. Harish has discussed in detail about the nutritious breakfast, nutritious lunch to be given to the students. That is very important point. And there we have to work in the missionary mode, and we have to, and I see a light of hope. I see a good light of hope from the people who are sitting at SCRT headquarters and other persons who are at DIETS and other places, the teachers. And I hope that if with this motive, with this attitude, if we go ahead, and one advice I would like to give every person here, that we should always talk about some positive examples, not the failures always we should talk about, that this we tried and this could not happen. Yes, whenever we go ahead for the policy implementation, some failures would come up. But those failures, those negative examples, we should understand, we should learn from those negative examples, but those negative examples should not come in the path of adoption, in the path of execution of that policy. We have some good examples. In our self-duty, so many teachers have done wonders, research, wonderful research, wonderful contribution. With that, I believe that the basic things that we need to analyze every component, every word of this policy, and see how could we develop a proper roadmap with the involvement of all stakeholders, the teachers, the parents, the children, and the society in general. We need to do the mapping, and I'm sure it would be done, it should be done in the mission mode. So I'm thankful to SCRT for giving me this opportunity, and I'm again grateful to Madam Usha also, that she is here from NCRT to give us the directions, to give us to develop the roadmap for this very, very vital component of the policy, that is foundational literacy and numeracy. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir, for these beautiful words. With the consent of the chair, I would like to invite Dr. Ishfaq Saab, Assistant Professor, University of Kashmir. Kindly enlighten us. But be very brief, sir. We are out of time.
Can you hear me, sir? Said Ishfaq, sir, can you hear me?
Yes. Now I can hear you. From the very beginning, I was listening to all the participants, but unfortunately, I couldn't hear much, excluding the first one. And especially, I was eagerly waiting for the sent me these comments made by the points submitted by this worthy Jane Balia Saab. But unfortunately, I couldn't hear you. It may be internet issue here in the department. But thank you.
Kindly go ahead.
Sir, please share your screen also.
Hello.
Sir, Please, you are audible. Go ahead.
Okay. Without taking much of the time, let me have some sort of the experiences which I have and the observations which I can make about this NEP 2020 and the main component, that is the foundational literacy and numeracy. Few important points which we need to do is, as my worthy senior colleague and teacher has been there in the meeting, he might have convened, he might have presented much better, but few points at my own level I must tell you. That important one is the pupil teacher ratio, which I as the stakeholder, I as the resident of the nation, I'm objecting it. 30:1 at the foundational structure is a greater barrier to achieve the target. It should have been very much minimized. This is the first negative point in my, as per my opinion, that this 30:1 ratio should have been minimized. It should have been, for example, 15:1. Why? Because this is the basic structure. This is the basic stage. This is the foundational stage where we are going to create the particular structure, where we are going to build the particular building. What we need to do is, as this is the tabular rasa stage, from the earlier policies, whether it was SSA, whether it was some other early childhood care and education policy through Anganwadi centers, Balwadi work centers, wherever it was working, but this preparatory stage was being lacking. Why the private institutions were found performing better? The reason is they were having the good nursery classes. The reason is good, they were having the preschool education system. So when you are going to admit 30 students in a particular class and you are appointing a single teacher for those particular students, it is definitely going to be a great hurdle. It is definitely going to be a great obstacle in achieving the target of numeracy and foundational literacy. Number one point, this can be minimized by the states and union territories as the provisions in the policy envisage that it is up to the governments of the states and union territories to make the implementation successful through different adaptations, through different alternative systems to make that available to the society. Like for example, if we may talk about higher education, एक और point मैं यहाँ पे बताना चाहूँगा, that is, there should, in order to strengthen this policy, in order to achieve the target in the actual perspective. Why? 1986 policy was almost 40 years before drafted. There were very much valid recommendations like delinking degrees from jobs or other points. But till date, after 36 years, we are not able to achieve a good amount, a good quality, what was expected. The reason is this: the successful implementation is always a question mark. There is always a question mark on the successful implementation of a particular commission or particular policy. I must tell one thing, that this policy can help. This target can be achieved if there are some sort of additional incentive system being given to the teachers working in the endeavor. Example मैं quote कर सकता हूँ, अगर हमारे पास में टीचर्स जो फाउंडेशनल स्ट्रक्चर पे जो फाउंडेशनल बेस है, पीरियड है, स्टेज है, वहां पे जो काम करने वाले टीचर्स हैं, हमारे डाइट साहिबान एम्प्लॉइज, ये भी उसी के साथ में एसोसिएटेड है. There should be additional incentive policy like we have in higher education system. We don't have sufficient career mobility for the teachers, with which they would have worked hard in government institutions to provide the better and fruitful results. Agar मैं example आपको बताऊं, if I must quote, in higher education system, we have the CAS, Career Advancement Scheme. The teacher who works better, the teacher who performs better gets promoted early. But what we do in the school education system, the teacher after getting 20 or 25 years of service, he is getting promoted to master's stage. Then if he is having a master's degree in particular subject or B.Ed, he may be promoted to lecturer post. So career mobility is at stagnation. Rather, we have negative things there. Like if your results in the matriculation or in 8th class are coming below 50%, below 30%, the increment will be stopped. But positive reinforcement system is nowhere existing. If this policy has to be successful, we need to create the scope of positive reinforcements for the teachers. If a teacher is performing the better, if a teacher is creating the good students, he should be promoted early before the promotion is due as per the service years. So this will definitely foster the competitive spirit among the teachers to work hard to get the things done. Example, in higher education system, we don't have such policy of stopping the increments if the candidate has not commenced some sort of punishable act. We don't have a policy to stop the increment if his results are down below 30%. So why we are making use of negative things? We should come up with positive things. This is to be done by the state governments because the scope has been provided in the NEP 2020. The state should provide additional incentive things for the teachers so that they may work hard. That the teacher is 5 years senior to me, but I have to work hard to get promotion earlier. I have to work hard to get some additional increment. Some sort of things can be done. These things can be done in order to make the teachers enthusiastic, interested, and develop competitive spirit in them to work for the target. Another point, I was listening to one of the person who was asking a question here, that we are again neglecting the parents. How we can foster competition among parents? I don't think that I am the policy maker here, but I have a suggestion that comes from my heart. What we can do is to foster the competition among parents. At the time of admission, when the child is to be admitted particularly in a government school, for these nursery classes or for this foundational stage, what is to be done? There should be a sort of merit-based scholarship for the children who may excel on the pattern of interaction we should conduct at the time of admission. They should be given admission, though they are weak. But there should be an interaction on the basis of which the children who may perform better, they may be given, for example, 500 rupees, 1000 rupees for the coming year or for the coming 6 months. And after that, when they will be there for 6 months or 8 months or 1 year, then this scholarship be given on the basis of merit obtained in the performance given within the institution. But at the time of admission, this merit-based scholarship should be given to students who may perform better in the interaction on the time of admission, at the time of admission in the preparatory school. So what will we do? It will help the parents. It will develop competitive spirit among parents. Especially, we have the major class of society in the middle class and below poverty line. Definitely, they will work hard to get it done before the child will reach the age of 3 as well. If I will quote an example of my own kid, he is right now 2-year-old. He is little bit, not to the greater extent, but little bit he is able to speak to me in an English language to some extent. In Urdu language, even sometimes he raises some sort of questions. I get astonished. The reason being this is the parents need to be involved. But how you can involve the parent who has never been to school? Through these scholarship provisions. And this can be done by the state if the provision is not within the national education policy. Another point, that is about the NEP 2020. I may try to conclude within 1 or 2 minutes. The dropout rate, which is very much higher, which in NEP has made the provision that it is to be checked after every 6 months almost. After every 3 or quarterly, it is to be done in a year. 4 times in a year. You have to check out what is the dropout rate, where the droppies have gone. They are again to be brought back to the school. So what here again the problem is, the provision is that we should create the counselors, we should bring some counselors who will be the medium between the school and the community. Definitely this is to be done, but we can achieve success only when it is successfully implemented. And another point is, it should not be like the ZRP policy जो ZDO office में चल रही है. You please bear me for that. It should not be like that. These counselors should be made accountable as well. If there is the accountability on part of the counselors who will be the medium to overcome the problem of dropout rate, those counselors should be also made accountable. Their progress should also be encouraged through the system of incentives. उनको भी कुछ उस तरह का इनाम, एजाज, एप्रिसिएशन मिलना चाहिए जिससे वो इंथुजियास्टिक और ऑनेस्ट रहे. ऐसा ना हो कि हम स्कूल में भर लें और आगे रिजल्ट्स दे दें. This shouldn't happen. Another point is, one resource person was mentioning that language diversity. We should have only Urdu, English and Hindi as the medium. But my dear, I must tell you, language diversity shouldn't be the obstacle. Language diversity can't be the barrier in achieving the foundational literacy and numeracy. It can't be. Why? NCF 2005, earlier 15 years back, recommended the contextualization of education. And this contextualization can be better done through the local and the mother tongue of the candidate. This can be better achieved through the mother tongue which the candidate is having. तो यहाँ से जब आप दो, definitely you must help my child. I have not मतलब done negative thing कि वो कश्मीरी ना बोले. He is speaking Kashmiri, he is speaking Urdu fluently, and to little extent he is speaking English. अपनी mother tongue से हम उनको दूर नहीं कर सकते. In order to make the teaching actual, in order to give them the real life experiences, to teach them through real life experiences, to make this target achievable through real life experiences, you can't ignore the language diversity. This is to be taken into consideration. Another point is that is regarding this nutritional support. Though NEP 2020 has recommended a lot, a type of rices, type of this food to be given to the children, to be given to the students.
हाँ, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. शायद कनेक्टिविटी कहीं से ड्रॉप हो गई है. तो जो हमारी चेयरपर्सन है इस सेशन की, उनको किसी और तकरीब में भी जाना है, इसलिए हम माजरत खा हैं. अलबत्ता अगर हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स को कोई भी सवाल हो वो हमें चैट बॉक्स में वो कर सकते हैं और उनका जवाब भी मिलेगा. तो मेरी गुजारिश रहेगी प्रोफेसर उषा शर्मा जो कोऑर्डिनेटर है इंटीग्रेटेड स्कूल लैंग्वेज प्रोग्राम डिपार्टमेंट ऑफ एलिमेंट्री एजुकेशन, कि वो अपने ज़री NCERT न्यू दिल्ली व ज़री ख्यालात से हमें नवाजें. मैं इस शेर के साथ उनको दावत दूंगा. जुगनों को दिन में परखने की जिद करें, बच्चे हमारे अहद के चालाक हो गए. मैडम उषा जी.
आप सभी को नमस्कार, अस्सलाम वालेकुम. अभी तक की जो बातचीत हुई है पूरी फाउंडेशन लिटरेसी न्यूमरेसी को लेकर, वो बहुत मीनिंगफुल बातचीत रही है. और सबसे अच्छी बात रही है कि हम उस पूरे प्रोसेस को, उस पूरी अंडरस्टैंडिंग को अपने लोकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देख रहे हैं. चाहे हम डेटा प्रेजेंट करते हैं या फिर हम कुछ चैलेंजेस की बात करते हैं और फिर हम अपॉर्चुनिटीज की बात भी करते हैं, सॉल्यूशंस की बात भी करते हैं, तो उसमें ये लगता है कि आपने सभी ने बहुत अच्छे से इसे पढ़ा है, समझा है, गुना है और ये देखने की कोशिश की है कि जम्मू और कश्मीर में हम फाउंडेशन लिटरेसी न्यूमरेसी को किस तरह से इम्प्लीमेंट कर सकते हैं. तो मैं सबसे पहले प्रोफेसर JN बालेरी की बात से शुरू करती हूँ. सर ने बहुत अच्छी बात ये कही है कि जब हम फाउंडेशन लिटरेसी की बात करते हैं तो उसके 3 डायमेंशंस हैं. एक तो रीडिंग विद कॉम्प्रिहेंशन है, फिर स्पीकिंग स्किल की बात करते हैं और उसके बाद हम राइटिंग की बात करते हैं. और ये बहुत गहरी बात है क्योंकि जब हम लिटरेसी की बात करते हैं तो यूजुअली हम रीडिंग राइटिंग पर ही अपने आप को फोकस करते हैं, लेकिन रीडिंग राइटिंग का जो पूरा प्रोसेस है वो लिसनिंग और स्पीकिंग के बिना पॉसिबल नहीं है. तो जो चारों कॉम्पिटेंसीज है लैंग्वेज की, हालांकि हम उसे वाटर टाइट कंपार्टमेंट में नहीं देखते हैं और ना ही हम उसे किसी एक सीक्वेंस से देखते हैं कि पहले लिसनिंग है, फिर स्पीकिंग, फिर रीडिंग, फिर राइटिंग। हम ये प्रोसेस की बात भी नहीं करते हैं। हम एक आम लैंग्वेज का इस्तेमाल अपनी निजी जिंदगी में, अपनी पर्सनल लाइफ में कैसे करते हैं, अगर उसे बहुत गौर से देखें, उसे एनालाइज करें, तो ये समझ में आता है कि ये चारों जो प्रोसेस हैं वो एक साथ ही चलता है। तो इसमें आप कोई डिफरेंशिएट नहीं कर सकते कि ये जो हम अभी लैंग्वेज में हम जो कुछ कह रहे हैं, जो हम काम कर रहे हैं, ये स्पीकिंग है और ये रीडिंग नहीं है। इसका एक छोटा सा एग्जांपल मैं देना चाहूंगी। जब बच्चे किसी पोस्टर को, किसी तस्वीर को इलैबोरेट करते हैं, उसे नरेट करते हैं, उसे डिस्क्राइब करते हैं, तो ये जो किसी भी पोस्टर पिक्चर को डिस्क्राइब करना है, तो आप उसे किस में शामिल करेंगे? क्या ये स्पीकिंग है या फिर रीडिंग है? और जब आप सवाल पूछते हैं तरह तरह के, अच्छा बताओ कि पोस्टर में कौन है, ये जो लड़का खड़ा है ये क्या खरीद रहा है, ये दुकानदार इससे, ये जो शॉपकीपर है इस लड़के से क्या कह रहा होगा? तो यहाँ जो आपसी बातचीत है, तो क्या ये सिर्फ लिसनिंग स्पीकिंग का मामला है या फिर रीडिंग का मामला है? और आप जब आप उस पोस्टर पे कहते हैं कि अच्छा इसमें जो भी तस्वीर में आपको सबसे अच्छा लगा हो वो तस्वीर बनाइए और उसका नाम लिखिए। तो एक पोस्टर के इर्द गिर्द, एक तस्वीर के इर्द गिर्द जब आप क्लासरूम में इस तरह का प्रोसेस करते हैं, प्रोसेस इनिशिएट करते हैं, तो ये पता चलता है, ये समझ में आता है कि लिसनिंग, स्पीकिंग, रीडिंग, राइटिंग में आप कोई भी डिवीजन नहीं कर सकते हैं। ये तो एक मतलब ब्लेंडेड मोड में चलने वाला प्रोसेस है, क्योंकि जब हम सवाल पूछ रहे हैं, बच्चा जवाब दे रहा है और ये पोस्टर पर बेस्ड है, तो ये लिसनिंग, स्पीकिंग भी, रीडिंग भी है, और फिर आप राइटिंग का काम भी करते हैं। तो प्रोफेसर बालिया ने बहुत अच्छी बात ये कही है कि जो फाउंडेशन लिटरेसी है उसके 3 डायमेंशंस की बात उन्होंने की है, और राइटिंग को हमें नहीं भूलना चाहिए। और रीडिंग, राइटिंग में जो हमारे जो बेसिक स्किल्स हैं, सुनना और बोलना, यानी कि लिसनिंग और स्पीकिंग, ये बहुत मदद करते हैं। हालांकि ये चारों ही कॉम्पिटेंसीज एक दूसरे के एनहांसमेंट में मदद करती हैं और एक दूसरे को लगातार इन्फ्लुएंस भी करती हैं। एक और इम्पोर्टेंट चीज प्रोफेसर बालिया ने अपनी बातचीत में कही है, वो रिक्रूटमेंट पॉलिसी की बात है, करिकुलम चेंज की बात उन्होंने कही है, और जो SCERT का रोल है। नो डाउट कि स्टेट की जो एकेडमिक बॉडी है, स्टेट की जो हाईएस्ट एकेडमिक बॉडी है वो SCERT है। जैसे नेशनल लेवल पर एकेडमिक बॉडी NCERT है, वैसे स्टेट लेवल पर जो हाईएस्ट एकेडमिक बॉडी है वो SCERT है। SCERT, डाइट्स और जो एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं, उन्हें पूरे स्टेट को, जम्मू कश्मीर को एक साथ लेके चलना है। तो ये जो कोलैबोरेशन है ये बहुत जरूरी है। हम आइसोलेशन में काम नहीं कर सकते हैं, हम किसी के बिना भी काम नहीं कर सकते हैं। तो ये जरूरी रहेगा कि जम्मू कश्मीर में जितने भी डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं, जो SCERTs हैं, डाइट्स हैं, स्कूल टीचर्स हैं, हम सब मिलकर काम करें। तो हम स्टेट लेवल पे तो काम कर ही रहे हैं, लेकिन हम लोकल जो कॉन्टेक्स्ट है उसे बिल्कुल नहीं छोड़ सकते। तो ये बात बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है कि हम लोकल कॉन्टेक्स्ट को हमेशा साथ में लेकर चलें। न्यूमरेसी के बारे में जो प्रोफेसर बालिया ने बात कही है कि वो सिर्फ नंबर सेंस नहीं है, वो सिर्फ काउंटिंग नहीं है, वो सिर्फ मैथमेटिकल ऑपरेशंस नहीं है। जिंदगी में गणित का इस्तेमाल करना, जिंदगी में मैथमेटिक्स का इस्तेमाल करना, ये इम्पोर्टेंट है। तो हमें ये समझ में आना चाहिए कि अगर हमारे पास 2 बाल्टियां हैं, एक बड़ी और एक छोटी, और एक ही नल के नीचे अगर हम बारी बारी से इनको लगाते हैं, तो कौन सी बाल्टी पहले भरेगी, कौन सी बाद में भरेगी, तो जो एस्टिमेशन है ये जिंदगी में बहुत काम आता है। तो हम गणित को या न्यूमरेसी को, जो फाउंडेशन न्यूमरेसी है, उसमें हम यूजुअली प्री नंबर कॉन्सेप्ट्स की बात करते हैं, क्या दूर है, क्या पास है, क्या हल्का है, क्या वजनदार है। तो इन सब के साथ साथ ये समझने की जरूरत है कि हमारी जिंदगी में जो मैथमेटिक्स है, जो हम मैथमेटाइजेशन करते हैं, वो कैसे पॉसिबल है। तो न्यूमरेसी को हमें इस रूप में समझना चाहिए। इसी कॉन्टेक्स्ट में मैं एक और बात कहना चाहूंगी कि ये बहुत बहुत अजीब सी बात है, आप भी गौर करके देखिएगा, और अगर आप सहमत नहीं है तो भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, लेकिन हाँ इस पर गौर जरूर कीजिएगा। जब बच्चे कुछ भी सीखते हैं तो उनके ब्रेन में कहीं ये कंपार्टमेंट नहीं है कि वो लैंग्वेज सीख रहे हैं, वो मैथमेटिक्स सीख रहे हैं, वो EVS सीख रहे हैं, या वो साइंस सीख रहे हैं। तो जब हम कुछ भी सीखते हैं, जब हम कोई बातचीत भी इस समय कर रहे हैं, या प्रोफेसर बालिया जी ने और जितने भी पैनलिस्ट हैं, जितने स्पीकर्स थे, उनसे मैंने बहुत कुछ सीखा, लेकिन मैंने कहीं, या मेरा ब्रेन कहीं भी ये डिफरेंशिएट नहीं करता कि अब हम फाउंडेशन लिटरेसी न्यूमरेसी की बात कर रहे हैं, हम साइंस लैंग्वेज की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, या फिर हम पेडागोजी ऑफ EVS की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम पेडागोजी ऑफ सोशल साइंस की बात नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम लगातार सीख रहे हैं। तो जो नॉलेज है वो सिंगल एंटिटी है। नॉलेज को हमने अपनी सहूलियत के लिए अलग अलग जो डिसिप्लिन है, अलग अलग जो सब्जेक्ट्स है उसमें डिवाइड किया है। अदरवाइज नॉलेज एक सिंगल एंटिटी है, आप उसे किसी एक दायरे में नहीं बांध सकते हैं, किसी एक सब्जेक्ट के साथ उसे कंफाइन नहीं कर सकते हैं, वो सिंगल एंटिटी है। एक और इम्पोर्टेंट चीज बात जो बालिया साहब ने कही है वो बहुत पसंद आई है, वो दिल को छू गई है। हम अपनी कंट्री को दूसरी कंट्री से कंपेयर ना करें, क्योंकि और हमारे पास जो बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस है, जो अच्छी चीजें हैं, पॉजिटिव एग्जांपल्स हैं, वो हमारे सामने होने चाहिए। लेकिन हमारे अंदर ये सलाहियत हो कि हम ये देख सके कि दूसरी कंट्री में जो अच्छा है उसमें से ऐसी कौन सी चीजें हैं जो हमारी कंट्री में एप्लीकेबल हो सकती हैं। तो वो फिजिबिलिटी देखने की, टटोलने की, एनालाइज करने की बहुत जरूरत है। हम किसी भी मॉडल को जो कहते हो हूबहू एज इट इज अपनी कंट्री में अप्लाई नहीं कर सकते, क्योंकि कॉन्टेक्स्ट डिफरेंट है, और ये जो कॉन्टेक्स्ट है वो भी वेरिड है। वो लैंग्वेज का कॉन्टेक्स्ट हो सकता है, वो सोशो कल्चरल पर्सपेक्टिव का कॉन्टेक्स्ट हो सकता है, वो इकोनॉमिक का कॉन्टेक्स्ट हो सकता है। तो जो जापान है वो हिंदुस्तान नहीं है, जो हिंदुस्तान है वो जापान नहीं है। ये बहुत सिंपल सी बात है। जम्मू कश्मीर के किसी पौधे को मैं राजस्थान में उगाना चाहूँ तो वो नहीं उगेगा। राजस्थान के बबूल को मैं जम्मू कश्मीर में उगाना चाहूँ वो नहीं उगेगा, क्योंकि उसकी धूप, उसकी खाद, उसकी मिट्टी, उसकी आबो हवा वो बिल्कुल डिफरेंट है। तो हमें अपने बच्चों को भी इसी कॉन्टेक्स्ट में समझना चाहिए कि जम्मू कश्मीर के बच्चे किस कॉन्टेक्स्ट में रहते हैं, वो किस तरह के सोशल कल्चरल एनवायरनमेंट में रहते हैं, वहाँ लैंग्वेजेस क्या क्या बोली जाती है, किस तरह की इकोनॉमी वहाँ काम करती है, और किस तरह की ऐसे चैलेंजेस हैं जो वो दिन रात फेस करते हैं। तो इसलिए बच्चों को हम उनके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देखें और उसके बाद अपनी पॉलिसीज की इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से हम अपना जो वर्क प्लान है वो हम बनाएं। एक और बात प्रोफेसर वालिया ने बहुत अच्छी कही है कि जब हम स्कूल प्रिपरेशन मॉड्यूल की बात करते हैं तो फिर हम फॉर्मल स्कूलिंग की बात न करें। यूजुअली ये होता है कि क्लास 1 में अगर बच्चे अच्छा नहीं परफॉर्म कर रहे हैं तो ब्लेम आता है कि प्री स्कूल के टीचर ने अच्छा नहीं पढ़ाया, या जब क्लास 6 के बच्चे अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं करते हैं तो टीचर ब्लेम करती हैं कि वे क्लास 1-2 में क्या पढ़कर आए हैं, और जब बच्चे क्लास 10 में अच्छा परफॉर्म नहीं करते हैं तो ब्लेम आता है कि नीचे वाली क्लास में बच्चे क्या पढ़कर आए। तो ये जो ब्लेम गेम है इसे बंद करना होगा, क्योंकि एजुकेशन सबकी शेयर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है। और अगर बच्चे को क्लास 1 में आने से पहले क्लास 1 का पूरा सिलेबस आता होगा, सारे लर्निंग आउटकम वो अचीव करके आते होंगे, तो फिर उन्हें स्कूल आने की जरूरत क्या है, वे घर में ही अच्छा कर सकते हैं। तो ये समझने वाली बात है कि अगर बच्चे प्री स्कूल में 3 साल का काम करेंगे, क्लास 1-2 में जाएंगे, तो जो एज एप्रोप्रिएट एक्टिविटीज होनी चाहिए, जो एज एप्रोप्रिएट करिकुलम सिलेबस डिजाइन होना चाहिए, जो हम तमाम तरह के प्रोजेक्ट्स लेते हैं तो वो ऐसे हों जो बच्चे की उम्र के हिसाब से वो काम कर सके। और हम ये ना सोचे कि क्लास 1 से पहले 3 साल का प्री स्कूल है तो प्री स्कूल में वो सब पढ़ा दे जो क्लास 1 में आना है, ताकि क्लास 1 में उससे ज्यादा मेहनत ना करनी पड़े। और तो ये जो अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, ये जो रवैया हो सकता है टीचर्स का, ये बेहद ही चैलेंजिंग तो है ही, लेकिन ये बहुत ही ज्यादा खतरनाक है, बहुत डेंजरस आइडिया है कि हम डाउनवर्ड तरीके से देखते हैं कि क्लास 1 में जो करना है उसकी तैयारी हम क्लास प्री स्कूल में करा दें। एक और मसला है, ये जो बहुत समझने वाली बात है कि जो पूरा एजुकेशन का प्रोसेस है वो अपने आप में कंप्लीट प्रोसेस है, कोई तैयारी नहीं है। हम कभी नहीं कहते कि पहले आइए जीने की तैयारी करें फिर जिंदगी को जिए, हम कभी नहीं करते हैं। हम जो समय हमारा बीत रहा है, हम जो आपस में बातचीत कर रहे हैं, वो दरअसल जिंदगी को जी ही रहे हैं। हम कहीं तैयारी और जीने में ये फर्क नहीं करते। तो इसी तरह से लर्निंग प्रोसेस को भी हमें प्रोसेस के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से देखने की जरूरत है, उसे किसी खास तैयारी की तरह से देखने की जरूरत नहीं है। एक और इम्पोर्टेंट चीज ये कहा कि जो एक टीचर है वो सब कुछ नहीं पढ़ा सकता, ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है। एवरी टीचर कैन नॉट टीच चिल्ड्रन ऑफ दिस स्टेज। और ये जो स्टेज है, जो फाउंडेशनल स्टेज है, ये बहुत डिफिकल्ट स्टेज है, ये बहुत चैलेंजिंग स्टेज है, ये बहुत एक्सपर्टीज की डिमांड करती है। और यूजुअली क्या होता है कि हम इसी स्टेज पर जो टीचर्स अपॉइंट करते हैं, या इस स्टेज पर जो हम टीचर्स को दे रहे हैं पढ़ाने के लिए, ये सोचते हैं कि पहली क्लास में तो कोई भी पढ़ा लेगा। तो जिसके पास वो एक्सपर्टीज नहीं है, जिसके पास वो क्वालिफिकेशन नहीं है, जिसके पास वो ट्रेनिंग नहीं है, खास तरह की रिगरस ट्रेनिंग नहीं है, वो क्लास 1 के बच्चों को, प्री स्कूल के बच्चों को नहीं पढ़ा सकते, बिल्कुल भी नहीं पढ़ा सकते। तो इसलिए ये जरूरी होगा कि जो इस फाउंडेशनल स्टेज के टीचर्स रहेंगे उनकी ट्रेनिंग एक खास तरह की हो। स्पेशलाइजेशन होना बहुत जरूरी है। और उन्होंने बहुत एग्जाम्पल अच्छा लिया बालिया साहब ने कि जो डेंटिस्ट है वो कोई दूसरा काम नहीं, वो सर्जन नहीं बन सकता, जो सर्जन है वो डेंटिस्ट नहीं बन सकता, या आई स्पेशलिस्ट है वो डेंटिस्ट का काम नहीं कर सकता। तो अगर हमारे अपने जो जितने भी प्रोफेशंस हैं उसमें स्पेशलाइजेशन को हम इतना ड्यू रिगार्ड देते हैं, एक्नॉलेज करते हैं, तो वो स्पेशलाइजेशन को हमें अपने एजुकेशन प्रोसेस में भी देखने की जरूरत है। एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज उन्होंने बहुत अच्छे से कही कि नेशनल बुक प्रमोशन पॉलिसी को लाने की जरूरत है, और जो स्कूल है वो एक लर्निंग का प्लेस बन सके, जहां कम्युनिटी और स्कूल के जो बच्चे हैं, टीचर्स हैं, वो साथ मिलकर सीख सके। कम्युनिटी पर बार बार फोकस किया है बुखारी साहब ने, और ये कहा है कि हम पेरेंट्स को और कम्युनिटी को अलग नहीं छोड़ सकते। ये बहुत वाजिब बात है, एकदम वाजिब बात है कि कम्युनिटी पेरेंट्स को हम छोड़कर हम ये कहें कि हम बच्चों को क्वालिटी एजुकेशन दे सकेंगे, तो पॉसिबल नहीं है, क्योंकि एजुकेशन शेयर्ड रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है। वो पेरेंट्स की भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, वो टीचर्स की भी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, वो स्कूल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, वो कॉलेज
Yes, ma'am. Continue, ma'am.
तो नेटवर्क के इशू रहते हैं। तो बुखारी साहब ने बहुत अच्छी कम्युनिटी को नहीं छोड़ सकते हैं, उन्हें साथ लेकर चलना होगा। एक और इम्पोर्टेंट चीज उन्होंने कही है जो पीपल टीचर रेशो की बात है, ये बहुत जायज और बहुत वाजिब बात है। जब हम 30:1 का रेशो लेकर चलते हैं और की बात करेंगे, 1:2 की बात करेंगे, तो उस पर पीपल टीचर रेशो कम होना बहुत जरूरी है, ताकि हम इंडिविजुअल जो अटेंशन है वो बच्चों को दे सकें। और ये बहुत चैलेंजिंग सिचुएशन है, बहुत चैलेंजिंग स्टेज।
Professor Usha Sharma ji has some issue with the network. I may request Professor Veena Pandita, ma'am.
जी
I
am
request.
I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Am I audible?
Yes.
हाँ, ये मैडम से पहले, प्रोफेसर साहब से पहले फिर से एक बार देख लीजिए, वो अपना कंक्लूड नहीं कर पाए ठीक से। एक बार उनको फोन लगा के देख लीजिए।
Ma'am, Usha ji is back again, and the sir had some this net issue.
हाँ।
We have talked with him. Usha ma'am, please. I think
प्रोफेसर उषा कंटिन्यू कर लीजिए। अब प्रोफेसर उषा।
Yes, continue, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Continue.
बात करती हूँ नेटवर्क की। के सब में ये समझने की जो एजुकेशन है वो करंट लिस्ट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट की होती है, रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी स्टेट गवर्नमेंट की है। और ये बहुत अच्छी बात है कि नेशनल लेवल पे जो फ्रेमवर्क बनता है, जो नेशनल पॉलिसी आती है, हर स्टेट को अपने कॉन्टेक्स्ट में कॉन्टेक्चुअलाइज करने की जरूरत है। और लैंग्वेज का जो पूरा मसला है, मुद्दा है, उस पे मैं बुखारी साहब की बात से पूरी तरह से सहमत हूँ।
Hello. Hello.
Yes, ma'am. Continue, ma'am. Yes, continue, ma'am. You have some net
मुझे
problem, I think.
हाँ, we have some leg problem. So should we conclude it now?
Yes. Yeah, ma'am. Actually, Usha ma'am has some net problem. She is now
हाँ,
again back.
okay, okay. Right.
तो ये समझना जरूरी होगा कि हमारे पास जितने एक्सपर्ट हैं हमारे स्टेट में, जिनके पास एक्सपर्टीज है फाउंडेशन लिटरेसी न्यूमरेसी की, उनकी एक्सपर्टीज को हम अपने जो वर्क प्लान बनाएंगे उसमें हम शामिल कर सके। और इसके साथ साथ ये भी देखने की जरूरत होगी कि जो हमारे पास लैंग्वेजेस है, हमारे स्टेट की जो लैंग्वेजेस हैं उसमें बच्चों को मदर टंग में ही हम उनकी एजुकेशन दे सके। हमारे पास बहुत रिच कल्चर है जम्मू कश्मीर का, चाहे वो ओरल जो कल्चर है वो है, या हम रिटन कल्चर की बात करते हैं। तो इसलिए रीडिंग राइटिंग पे फोकस करने के लिए जरूरी है कि हम बच्चों को उनकी लैंग्वेज में बहुत सारा रीडिंग मटेरियल अवेलेबल करा सकें। तो ये जरूरी होगा कि बच्चे अपनी लैंग्वेज में बहुत तरह तरह की किताबें पढ़ें, कहानियां पढ़ें, कविताएं पढ़ें, और एक रीडिंग आवर हमारे टाइम टेबल का एक एसेंशियल एस्पेक्ट होना चाहिए। और ये रीडिंग आवर किसी पर्टिकुलर लैंग्वेज से रिलेटेड नहीं होगा कि हम उर्दू की बात करें, हिंदी की बात करें, अंग्रेजी की बात करें, डोगरी की बात करें, किश्तवाड़ी की बात करें। ये बेसिकली रीडिंग आवर होगा, मतलब एक पीरियड जो आपके टाइम टेबल में होगा, रोज 1 घंटी एक पीरियड, वो पूरा रीडिंग को ही डिवोट होगा, और उसके साथ हम राइटिंग को भी शामिल कर सकते हैं। एक और इम्पॉर्टेंट चीज है कि टीचर्स की अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग बनाने के लिए बहुत काम करने की जरूरत है। इसलिए जो डाइट फैकल्टी है, जो टीचर एजुकेटर्स हैं, या फिर एससीईआरटी की फैकल्टी है, फाउंडेशन लिटरेसी न्यूमरेसी एग्जैक्टली क्या है, वो कैसे काम करती है, लैंग्वेज क्लासरूम कैसे होते हैं, मैथमेटिक्स क्लासरूम कैसे होते हैं, क्या एक्टिविटीज हम ऑर्गेनाइज कर सकते हैं। तो वो जो बेसिक अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, जो फंडामेंटल अंडरस्टैंडिंग है, वो अंडरस्टैंडिंग डेवलप करने के लिए बहुत जरूरत है। क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली वो टीचर एजुकेटर्स हैं जो अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग को वुड बी टीचर्स तक लेके जाएंगे, और फाइनली वो टीचर्स क्लास में जब पढ़ाते हैं तो एक वो जो फ्लो है अंडरस्टैंडिंग का, इंफॉर्मेशन का, एक्सपर्टीज का, वो फ्लो अल्टीमेटली हमारे क्लासरूम में पहुंचता है। तो इसलिए हमें 2 प्रोसेस पे ध्यान देने की जरूरत है, जो इन सर्विस टीचर्स हैं, जो क्लासरूम प्रोसेस उस पर, और हमारा टीचर एजुकेशन प्रोग्राम है उस पर फोकस करने की जरूरत है। कॉन्टेक्स्ट को हमेशा हम ध्यान में रखेंगे। बच्चों की मैगजीन, बच्चों के लिए रिसोर्स मटेरियल, टीचर्स के लिए रिसोर्स मटेरियल, टीचर्स के लिए कोई एक ऐसा प्लेटफॉर्म हम डेवलप कर सकते हैं जहां वे अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस शेयर कर सकते हैं। जो हमारी सक्सेसफुल स्टोरीज हैं वहां वो शेयरिंग हो सकती है, हम क्या चैलेंज फेस करते हैं वो वहां शेयरिंग हो सकती है। तो ऐसे टीचर के लिए कोई प्लेटफॉर्म बनाने की बहुत जरूरत है। और चूंकि इस समय और बात से क्योंकि नेटवर्क साथ नहीं दे रहा है कि अपने कॉन्टेक्स्ट को हमेशा पकड़े रहिएगा, उसे छोड़िएगा नहीं, और ये कोशिश करेंगे कि हमारे स्टेट का जो अंतिम बच्चा है, अंतिम टीचर है, हम उसको ध्यान में रखकर अपना जो वर्क प्लान है या जो प्लान ऑफ एक्शन है वो तैयार करें। और फाउंडेशन न्यूमरेसी एक नेशनल मिशन है, लेकिन बहुत गहराई से सोचेंगे तो ये समझ में आएगा कि ये कोई बहुत ऐसी चीज नहीं है जो अब हम करने जा रहे हैं। हम लगातार ये कह मैं अपनी बात यही समाप्त करती हूँ और एक्चुअल लैंग्वेज क्लासरूम और मैथमेटिक्स क्लासरूम ऐसे ही होने चाहिए जैसे फाउंडेशन लिटरेसी न्यूमरेसी के बारे में कहा गया है। तो आप जम्मू कश्मीर परिवार को मेरी तरफ से बहुत बहुत शुभकामनाएं और साधुवाद, और मैं बहुत धन्यवाद ज्ञापित करती हूँ, ग्रेटफुल हूँ कि आपने मुझे ये मंच प्रदान किया अपनी बात कहने के लिए। नमस्कार।
हाँ, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मैडम, हम आपके बहुत आभारी हैं इन ज़रीन ख्यालात के लिए। तो मैं साथ ही खुशामदीद कहना चाहूँगा डायरेक्टर SCRT J&K प्रोफेसर वीना पंडिता जी को भी, उन्होंने भी मीनवाइल ज्वाइन किया। दूसरी बात, तो अब जो रिपोर्टिंग है आज दिन की, उसके लिए मेरी गुजारिश रहेगी प्रदीप बलोरिया साहब से SCRT जम्मू ब्रांच कि वो अपनी रिपोर्टिंग पेश करें। प्रदीप बलोरिया जी।
Thanks, Kirmani Sahab. Very good afternoon to one and all. Here's Pradeep Baloria from SCRT Jammu. I feel immense pleasure, honor and privilege to present the brief reporting of day's proceeding before this august gathering. In continuation to a series of webinars undertaken by SCRT J&K under the able guidance of Professor Veena Pandita ji, Director SCRT J&K, in collaboration with the School Education Department for seeking grassroots level suggestions and feedback from the concerned stakeholders on challenges and opportunities for the effective implementation of National Education Policy 2020 in the duty of J&K. This webinar is the second in the current series, and today's topic is Foundational Literacy and Numeracy, an urgent and necessary prerequisite to learning. It is a unique outreach initiative so that all the 8 noble themes enshrined in the policy document be properly discussed, debated and analyzed vis-a-vis needs and aspirations of our children before implementing the policy with a mission and vision. Today's session began with the 2 power-packed presentations, one by Team SCRT Jammu and the other by Team SCRT Kashmir. Both the presentations were of par excellence, clearly and concisely explaining why foundational literacy and numeracy was given such a highest priority by the policymakers, while analyzing the weaknesses and strengths of our prevalent education system. The 9-member draft committee under the headship of Dr. K. Kasturi Ranjan, former chief of ISRO, was comprehensively convinced that the root cause of dismal learning outcome in our existing education system is the weak foundation of our children at the elementary stage. Now the question was how this problem can be solved. Consensus emerged out that early childhood care and education, along with foundational literacy and numeracy, targeting the early years of a child, are indispensable prerequisite for sound future schooling and lifelong learning. Esteemed presenters have made known to us that various governmental as well as non-governmental surveys indicate that we are currently in a learning crisis, as a large proportion of students, estimated to be 5 crore in number, currently in elementary schools in India, have not attained foundational literacy and numeracy, that is, the ability to read and comprehend basic text, and the ability to carry out basic operations like simple addition and subtraction. Realizing the gravity of situation, having potential of losing 10 crore of children from our education system, attaining foundational literacy and numeracy for the children by grade 3 is accorded the highest priority and outlined as one of the fundamental principles of this well thought and relevant document on the current needs of our nation. Our esteemed panelist, Dr. J.N. Balia, Head Department of Educational Studies, Central University of Jammu, and Dr. Ishfaq Ahmed, Assistant Professor, Center of Distance Education, University of Kashmir, have laid great emphasis on the implementation strategies vis-a-vis duty of J&K within the framework and guidance of NEP 2020, taking due care of our regional needs. The valuable inputs given by the chairperson of the session, Professor Usha Sharma, Coordinator, Integrated School Language Program, Department of Elementary Education, NCERT, New Delhi, will definitely enlighten our path in this great journey. Inquisitive question-answer sessions with the fair and frank deliberations were also of great significance, clearing the doubts of participants. Opportunities, challenges, and strategies to tackle these effectively for the smooth implementation of National Education Policy 2020 in J&K were deliberated upon threadbarely at this platform. As we know, NEP 2020 envisions to instill among the learners a deep-rooted pride in being Indian, not in thought, but also in spirit, intellect, deeds, and actions. It envisages on the development of knowledge, skills, values, and dispositions that supports responsible commitment to human rights, thereby making India an equitable, inclusive, plural, and vibrant society. To achieve such lofty goals, teachers have to lead from the front. We have to go some extra miles, contributing the best out of our abilities. Let us make this happen. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a patient hearing.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Baloria Saab. Now it is the time for vote of thanks. I would like to invite Mr. Tariq Ahmed Mir Saab with this Urdu couplet, बच्चों के नाजुक हाथों को चांद सितारे छू लेने दो, दो चार किताबें पढ़कर ये हम जैसे हो जाएंगे. मोहतरम तारिक अहमद मीर, डाइट सोपोर.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, yes,
Before,
Very good afternoon to all of you.
Yes, yes, Tariq Saab, please.
It's really a matter of.
Yeah, Tariq Saab, please.
Before you formally give the vote of thanks, I would like to congratulate all the speakers, Team A, Team B, and this panelists of the session, plus Usha Sharma ji, जिन्होंने chair किया. I would like to thank them. It was a very fruitful discussion. I have been with you right from the beginning. I saw how the wonderful presentations of both the teams. I saw how the statistics was, presented. NAS statistics was presented where we lack in the foundational literacy and numeracy, and wonderfully presented there also. So I was, very overwhelmed to see the seriousness and the way you conducted I congratulate and thank all of you, particularly our panelists and chairperson Usha Sharma, who spared their valuable time to be among us. And I hope, जैसे मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया है कि हम लोग सिर्फ हमारा जो पर्पस है वो सिर्फ हमारा यहाँ प्रेजेंटेशन नहीं रहेगा, बल्कि उसको पेपर में डालना, उसको एक पेपर की शेप देना, उसमें सारी प्रोसीडिंग्स लाना और उसके बाद रिकमेंडेशंस देना, चैलेंजेस को पॉइंट आउट करना, उसके बाद रिकमेंडेशंस को देना. इसको एक पेपर की शेप में हमने साथ में काम करते जाना है और इसको लेके जाना है. एंड वंस अगेन आई एम सो प्लीज्ड, आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू सी the way proceedings have been carried out with seriousness and good hard work done by each and every team. Thank you so much. You may proceed with the thanks. Okay.
Thanks, madam.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am, for your valuable suggestions at the end. I would again like to request Mr. Tariq Ahmed Mir Saab kindly present vote of thanks. Tariq Saab.
Okay, thank you, sir. It's really a matter of joy and occasion that we have successfully conducted webinar second on National Education Policy 2020 under the leadership of Professor Veena Pandita, Director of SCRT Jammu and Kashmir. On this occasion, my special gratitude goes to Professor Usha Sharma, Coordinator, Integrated School Program, Department of Elementary Education, NCERT, New Delhi, for chairing the session and summing up the tenets professionally. I also present vote of thanks to team members of both the teams from Jammu and Kashmir, especially Dr. Harish Sharma ji and Mr. Ghulam Hassan Rishi Saab. Gratitude and thanks to our esteemed panelists for thought-provoking discussions, namely Dr. Jan Balia Saab, Head Department of Education, Central University of Jammu, and Dr. Ashfaq Ahmad Saab, Assistant Professor, Center of Distance Education, Kashmir University. I also present my special thanks to all participants from SCRT, principal DIETS, faculties from DIETS for active participation, and I also present my thanks to organizers from DIETS Srinagar and technical teams. Thank you all, and thank you.
Karosh, end meeting.